Listen, you know what time it is. It's time for another episode of your favorite podcast entitled We Hate You Internet! And we're back! We were just discussing if I should be ashamed or not by how much joy I get from saying that episode after episode, right? This is episode 45 of We Hate Your Internet. Oh, yeah. It's a podcast that's designed to bring awareness of the problematic effects of the internet on our lives, as well as celebrate the beautiful simplicity of our humanity, okay? I'm Wilford Hamilton, your host, sitting alongside me. Last week, she had pink, blue, pink, you know what I'm saying? Plink chucks, because that's how she rock in the streets, you know what I'm saying? She's girly, but she also keeps it gangsta. You know what I'm saying? This week is all black like Nino Brown. You know what I'm saying? If you saw New Jack City, you know what time it is. She once again though, don't get it twisted. She's still representing the brand.
Got to? I don't know if
Straight up with the We Hate Your Internet t-shirt. They are for sale. You know what I'm saying? The link's in the bio. It look fly on her. It'll look fly on you too. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I forgot. Her name is
Clara Aguirre.
I didn't glitch. Clara Aguirre. It's in the building. Anyway, I was just discussing right before we came back came back in the shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, should I be ashamed of how much joy I get from saying we hate your internet? You know what I mean? 45 episodes in, you think I got all the giggles out, right? Wrong. I haven't. It still makes me laugh every time. We have waste too much time. Anyway, you know what time it is. Subscribing. We're saying thank you for all those who supported us, all the people that have followed us and reached out to us. Woo, on Instagram. We greatly appreciate all your support. Appreciate all those who left the comments and engaged us, and all the other platforms. We're doing a 1,000 subscriber challenge. I'm looking straight into the camera. You know what I mean? Make sure you go in there and hit the subscribe button. You know, for those that have been lurking in the shadows, peeking around the corners, you know what I'm saying? Man, come out. But we're nice people. If you haven't seen how much we laugh and giggle and smile and show all these pretty white teeth, you know what I'm saying? We're nice people, man. So you don't need to be afraid. Come on, help us out. Hit the subscribe button. It helps the algorithm to figure out, hey, this is something going on over here. We need to share this with other human beings. You know what I'm saying? That's what the algorithm says. Every time somebody hits subscribe. So go ahead and do that for us. If you're listening on the audio side, you can also help as well by rating and reviewing the show. You know, hitting the rate, that's 5 stars. Hitting the review button if you're on Apple and writing something nice. You're like, man, yo, this show is great. I learned so much. It teaches me how to be a human being. You know what I mean? Something as simple as that. And then the algorithm on that side be like, hey, there's something going on over there. We need to... Same thing. It's all right. So, do that. We're going to jump into it today. We're going to have AI update number 5, right? And so last time we had, we just had one of those, didn't we? Yeah. But we got caught up with the AI and and the sex bots, and it was a wild ride. It was a wild ride. If you didn't check it out, you better go back and check that one out. It's pretty crazy, right? But there's a lot more stuff that we have prepared and we didn't get a chance to get to, and so we felt all this stuff was really important, so we want to come back around and follow up with another AI update episode. Reason being is because AI is the next big tech that's coming down the pipes as we speak. That's going to change our world. It's going to change how we live. It's going to change how we interact with the world around us, right? And so you really need to be, stay abreast of what is going on in the developments, because just like the internet, when it first came out, it was kind of like, spars here and there, dial up, you know what I mean? All those strange noises and everything. You remember, for those old enough, you remember that stuff. And now it's in every home and every hand and every device. Mm-hmm. It operates. Everything that we do is through the internet. So AI is coming right behind it. It's going to change the world as we know it. You know what I mean? So it's really important that, like I said, you understand what's going on with it. The other thing we want to kind of mention before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this is we know the show is called We Hate Your Internet. You know what I'm saying? I proclaim it passionately. at the beginning of every episode. But, I think it's important that people understand we don't actually hate the internet. We talk about this all the time. But seriously, though, like, we're not against innovation. Innovation, I think, is a good thing. This show is brought to you by the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? AI is not something that you have to necessarily be afraid of. I think it's a great tool. It's going to help a lot of people if you know how to use it, like anything else. Use it in the right way. But we just feel like with everything that comes, there's always pros and cons, right? And something this big that's going to have such an impact is really important that you understand what those cons are, so that you can really maximize the benefits that will come from AI, and then you can minimize the damages that are bound to come as well. And so that's what this episode is about. That's what this platform is all about. And that's what we're trying to do out here in these virtual streets. Claire's been sitting there smiling the whole time. She has glasses on this episode. Since we're talking intellectually, she said, we're going to pop these glasses on so these people understand what time it is, you know what I'm saying? For those that game, do RPG stuff, it gives her a plus. She equips that item, and it gives her a +10 to intellect.
That's funny.
It is pretty funny. Anyway, enough of the jibber jabber. So today, right, AI updates. We're gonna jump right in. I want to talk about Elon Musk and his Neuralink. Was just implanted into the first human trial, a test subject. And that's really, really interesting. For those that may not be aware of what the Neuralink BCI is, it's basically a chip that's implanted into an individual's brain, and it connects with the neurons in the brain in a way. And it has all these little really microscopic needles that they can connect to connect with your neurons in your brain, right? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And it basically is designed to help you seamlessly interact with machines, like machinery, computers, that kind of nature. You know what I'm saying? So where like through your thoughts you can able to communicate, and it's like a next level interface with computers and technology. The idea behind it, of course, is for people that are, that have suffered any kind of brain damage, that have some type of paralysis, things of that nature, where their brain is not functioning in the way that it should with the rest of its body, with the rest of your body. It's a way that you're able to have outside aids, and you can better communicate or interact with the world around you through this syncing with technology. That's the idea behind this chip, and ultimately they want to be able to cure certain brain diseases and addictions and all this kind of stuff. They want to be able to try to map out the brain and be able to, like I say, interface with the brain and be able to manipulate the brain from the outside in. Like that's kind of the idea. In theory, like it's a great idea, right? I think that so far they said they've liked the results, but as you do a little bit of research, that the results has been very limited as far as what they've made public, which is interesting. And I like to say, I think the idea it's an interesting idea, but the only thing that I would be cautious of, is that like any other technology or computer or anything seen to a computer, it can be hacked, it can be compromised. And if that is the blueprint to be able to hack an individual's brain, that could be a pretty bad thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That could be a pretty bad thing. And there has been research that has shown that that indeed is possible through these kinds of, they call them BCIs, right? Where they, and like I said, the company BlackRock has also invested in one of these. They actually have chips that they've actually embedded in people's brains too. It's not as immersive as the Neuralink is, but they've been able to, they've effectively done that, and they've shown that it can be hacked. You know what I'm saying? So that's a pretty crazy thing. I'm gonna let you talk because he asked. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to take up the whole time.
No.
What do you think? What do you think about that?
That's scary.
It's
It's pretty scary. I like I think I saw a video once of a guy who was paralyzed and he was actually able to walk because of something like that. Because it wasn't the same thing, I don't think. I think they connected like an actual mechanism, and it was like motorized, and he was able to walk. Yeah. In that aspect, I think it's wonderful, you know, because these are people who probably never think they're going to walk again. Yeah. But when you put it in that other perspective, because I guess that's the other side to the coin, like it could be hacked. I mean, but I wonder what the hacker would do.
Control your mind.
That's
that's what he would do. He would, I mean, like I said, we talked about, you know, a couple episodes back how the brain is a supercomputer, right? Processes information, it controls all your impulse, all your digits, your finger, like it controls your whole body. You know, it's the CPU of, you know what I mean, of your body. You know what I mean? And so if somebody was effectively able to, you think of it like this, right? If you get tased, you know what I'm saying, your body involuntarily twitches. You know what I mean, it's the shot goes to your brain and it automatically twitches. They able to do that kind of stuff when they doing surgery. They can go inside your brain, they cut up your brain, they can kind of manipulate certain things and like cause you to blink or like, you know what I mean? He'll feel a cold sensation. They can start manipulating stuff in your brain to make you like essentially control the reactions that they can get based on what part of the brain they're dealing with, right? And so ultimately, if they were able, because this thing is wireless that they put in there, it's not like, because they've had some other stuff where it's like interface, like you said, they can plug in and like do some stuff, right? But this thing is like totally wireless, and so if somebody effectively can hijack a person's brain. Now, unfortunately, I always think about military use because, you know, that's kind of how this thing goes. So let's not kid ourselves. And I'm not really a conspiracy. I've talked about this before, but once again, we're not going to act brand new out here in the streets. You know what I mean? Every human being, everybody don't always have good intentions for stuff. And a lot of times things are funded because there are other desired results that somebody else is looking for. And so, you know, it ain't a hard stretch to think about, you know, for those that have done any kind of research, you know about the project MK Ultra, where, you know, the U.S. government spent a pretty little penny trying to figure out how they can, you know, control people's minds and brains and stuff like that. Well, this could be definitely a step, a great step for them. I mean, because, you know, like I said, you can control a person's memories, download or upload information, now we get into the kind of sci-fi area as far as this concerned, because nobody's really talked about doing all of this. But I mean, if you're able to effectively map out the brain and be able to effectively read and communicate with a person's brain through, like I said, that you have an interface into a person's brain, then
you have control over it.
And listen, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can get done, you know, other than just, you know, pumping them up for the LSD and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it can get crazy. I mean, we've talked about a couple of things before, just on you know, we talked about a couple of things before as far as all of this stuff is concerned. It gets kind of far into kind of the sci-fi, but I mean, there's some stuff coming down the pipes that's pretty crazy. You know what I'm saying? Which leads us to our next point. You know, Ukraine, right? You know, Ukraine has effectively become a, you know, R&D lab for AI systems and like for military use. Mm-hmm. And so what does that mean, right? You said a whole bunch of stuff. Research and development, that's what R&D stands for those that may not have known. And there was a U.S.-based company called Palantir, and they basically deal with data analysis, which of course, you know, data is not what you think when you hear data. You just think about you may think about data from Star Trek, or you may just think about like just information on a computer screen, mm-hmm. data. But like when we talk about data in that sense, it's a lot more complex than what most people are imagining, because everything in the world is data. Everything in the world is measured. You think about probability ratio. You talk about the likelihood for a person to do this, to do that, how many steps they can take. You know, you start thinking about all this stuff and everything. You really start thinking about things that, okay, what size shoe you wear, how far you can travel in a day's time. All this stuff is measurable. the number of words that you use in this time and that time, how effectively you communicate. Then you may say all this worthless information, but you start taking all this information and you start processing all this information, and then you can start getting a really clear picture of a whole person's existence. If you do enough calculations about that individual, if you have enough data about that individual, and like I said, I'm speaking in real simple terms right now, but like, and I'm hoping I'm doing an effective job of really explaining what I'm saying. If a person, every individual can be broken down into data, information. How many times you say this word? How many times you blink? When you talk about this, when you're sad, how you do this? How many times you do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like when you are feeling something, how many times you put your hair to your left versus on the right side? Like all it is just data. You know what I mean? For people that watch sports, there's a thing they call analytics, sports analytics, where you start to calculate how many times a person go right versus go left, and you start building plans on all that data, right? It's the same concept. They just talking about doing it at scale, like all these minute. That's what data analytics. When people are talking about this stuff, that's what they're talking about, and it's big business. Because if a person can effectively learn all of your tendencies and the probability of which you do this versus that, and like that's what all the advertising and all this stuff, people getting all this information off your phones and stuff like that. And you have all these pop-ups with cookies. Do you accept the cookies on your phone? Do you mind do you want to ask this app not to share your information? Like all this stuff, like it's data, it's information. How long you look at this? How long you look at this versus this image versus that image, this video versus that video, blah, blah, blah. And like the list is endless, right? And I'm going way down the street. But I just want people to understand like what this company is doing in this place. So effectively, they've had an agreement with Ukraine to be able to utilize and to help them in their fight against Russia. And they're using the latest AI systems to gather up all this information, all this data, research data, landscape, geology, enemy movement, and you're talking about information for people on the ground versus satellite images. So you're taking all of this data, and then the AI is giving military suggestions to the Ukrainian generals, right? So ultimately, AI is fighting this war, essentially. And they've invested big money. It's a lot of people over there look like they from Silicon Valley, over in Ukraine, going to secret bases, and no, not secret, but restricted areas, and they have a humongous. They say, like I say, it's like it's just an enormous R&D laboratory. That's what Ukraine has become. You know what I mean? And that's the future of warfare. AI doing battle with AI, because that's essentially what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? And when you start adding that with the development of the humanoid robots that Microsoft and this company Figure has been funded by Microsoft and OpenAI, and they're creating these humanoid robots. Boston Dynamics been doing this for years. They've been trying to play around with a lot of robotics and trying to get robots to be able to be functional, and they've been able to kind of do some stuff with their latest version of their robots, where they can kind of grab and manipulate stuff with fingers and all that kind of jazz. We're still a couple of years away from this stuff actually being functional, but you start talking about AI systems that can come up with plans, and then they have access to humanoid robots who they communicate in real time, and things start getting kind of crazy. And AI, stop that, lady. Stop that. I see the eyes over there. Come out of there. You gonna be all right.
I just feel like this is the part in the movie, in Jurassic Park. Why would they bring dinosaurs back? I feel like somebody's watching this movie and why would they do that?
Yeah, somebody down the line. Why did they do that? Yeah. Hey, man, catch dollar signs, man. Curiosity, man. People are interesting. I don't want to get into all of that because, I don't like speculation, but human beings can be pretty interesting. That's all I can say. Anyway, leave a comment if you want to comment on that. Or why would people do something like this, right? But Yeah, so I mean, I remember in AI update episode 1, I was like, it's not gonna be like Terminators walking down the street blasting cats with laser guns.
But isn't that crazy? Now we're here
Yeah,
because
I'd rather recant that statement.
and it's really happening. Like you could see videos online of like drones with little cameras and shooting and blowing things up, and the person's not even there's no person in the drone. It's just a drone, and you can watch it online.
Yeah, I mean, so like, AI in the military space is becoming a real big thing. You know what I mean? And like, and like I said, it's right now just AI making suggestions, but then pretty soon, because of the speed at which you won't want to be slowing down for a human to make a decision, they're going to just give all that power over to AI, like they're doing with a lot of other systems. You know what I mean? Like Instagram and its algorithms are controlled by AI. They're not human beings picking what's big on social media, what videos to push. It's AI collecting all this data.
That's why it's so fast, because it is AI.
And I mean, we talked about last week about trends and how fast it moves. I mean, it's because it's picking up how long people are watching certain videos, and they start pushing for certain videos, and then it's like, which gets the most reactions and comments, and like likes versus dislikes, and likes or dislikes don't matter. It's just reactions that matter. That's what it adds up to. You can have 1,000 dislikes, it don't matter. It's like, oh, well, then this gets people's attention, because it's all about the algorithm is all about getting attention, which ultimately is the primary objective, because the more attention that you can
give them, the more data you can give them too.
Correct. But then also from a business perspective, the more attention that you can garner and keep, the more you can spend and more you can charge for advertising. And that's what companies like Meta and, they own Instagram and Facebook. Like, that's what it's about. It's, YouTube, like Google, like it's about attention retention. If I can hold your attention, then I can put this ad in front of you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the
and
name
then
of the
with
game.
the military, I mean, if what they want is information, you know what I mean? Because information is power. Knowledge is power. That's I know it's a little bit of speculation, but I mean, we said that it's so far ahead, and look where we're at right now. So maybe it's not, because it is moving pretty quickly.
And also something that we said in the first episode, AI update episode 1. We talked about how fast this development is happening. Like with other major developments in the world, it took years to kind of like really like integrate it and really start to make changes, because it still had a human aspect to it. But with AI, and now, it's developers still developing and stuff, but as AI becomes more and more prevalent, it's doing a lot of stuff on its own. You know what I mean? It's processing and it's taking this information, and they're teaching and they're training AI and by extension, the humanoid robots, which are powered by AI, like they're teaching them how to learn. That's what machine learning is. They're teaching it how to, and they're getting better. Like, and like you say, why would they do that? If you saw the movie Terminator, why in the world would you do this? Well, I mean, sometimes people,
I think they're blinded by like the positive aspects of it, and there are good aspects to it, but you can't ignore the other side of the coin.
Sometimes it's a matter of curiosity, and sometimes too much curiosity can be bad. And sometimes a person is so curious that they don't care about the result; they just want to see what happens. And like you're not thinking about if this is good or bad. I'm more interested in the result
and finding out.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to see. And if that means blowing up everything, then so be it. But I just want to see what happens if I do this. If I mix these two things, what will happen? Man, I'll mix those things. Why not? Well, they say something real bad happened. You tell a person that, they be like, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to see how bad it is. Well, like, goodness gracious, friend. Like, anyway. And then, of course, there's money also. People are pretty greedy, and they want to set themselves up, and so they don't care about some of the negative stuff. They're more interested in getting that dollar bill or whatever that whoever this rich person is that's backing it is willing to give them. So, that's that. What you gonna do? Leading us to our next point. The former CEO of Google, his name is Eric Schmidt. He actually has a new company called Stork. And they are in the development of AI-powered attack drones, like you mentioned. You know what I mean? And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and he was talking about a video he saw about this drone, like essentially like an attack drone. Like it was another soldier that was like hiding behind this broke down tank, and like this drone comes flying up, and then it gets within maybe 25, and we ain't talking about no humongous thing. Like it's
Yeah.
like a regular sized drone that you see maybe like a little bit bigger than maybe like a notebook or something like that. As far as like area of it, it's like maybe like size like a notebook. You know what I mean, 8x11. Like it's not no humongous thing. You know what I'm saying? Like a aircraft or nothing. He finally sees it and he's like, oh, and he starts trying to like evade it, but then it's like it can, where you gonna go? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then it finally lined him up, you know what I mean? Took a shot, killed him. And like, yeah, I mean, like that's the future of warfare. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know what I mean?
I think it's really easy for people to be like, oh well, you know, war is ugly, but this is different. You know, before like humans killing humans, okay, right? It's already difficult. It's something that's evil. It's wrong, in my opinion. It's. I don't think it's beneficial to anyone.
Yeah.
But like for a machine, and then imagine being the parents of that soldier.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because there is a human element to war, right? So like, you know, you out here fighting, your side is winning, and then eventually it's like, yo, we've killed enough people. It's time to stop. Like, how many are we gonna kill? Wipe out a whole generation? Like for what? We've already won. Conditions of peace. Listen. It's time to end the killing. Like, we won. Y'all know we won. Like, we don't want to wipe you all out. Let's just find a way to kind of settle this thing. Like, we want to go home. Like, we ain't trying to deal with all this like this. You know what I mean? But you know, a computer, you be playing a video game. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, and I'm gonna say it like this: a person play Call of Duty, or listen, a person play Grand Theft Auto, right? It's a video game. So cat to get out of his car, run, pull another cat out of the car, beat him up, shoot him, get in the car, drive real fast, run to another car, get out, shoot all the people on the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like
you know
it's
what I mean?
nothing.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They go to the top of the building, snipe people. You know what I mean? Like, it's a video game. They're not real people. It's just a game. But if you have a drone, and like, especially if it's AI powered, right? It's just doing what it's designed to do. It has no feelings. It ain't thinking like, man, I don't want to kill this dude, this kid. Like, I'll kill a kid. I'll kill a new. I have no feelings. It's just objectives and accomplishing the objective. And like, that can get pretty, because then it causes the human to be disconnected from the war too. Now he ain't thinking about, I'm just pressing buttons, and the machines are doing all this stuff. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, and so wiping people out, like, I don't even see nobody's head get blown off no more. It's just, I'm getting results on the screen. It says, okay, casualties, 173,000, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, well, I think we did good today. But it completely separates you from the reality of what that means. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you know, like I said, you know, it's speculative, so to speak. But you know, and like I said, war has always been crazy and brutal, and people have been killing people for a long time. Since human beings have been around, people have been killing each other. But like I said, there is such a thing as people, the humanity of it, and it's just like, I don't want to keep killing people all the time. I'm getting tired of killing and hearing people scream. Like, I'm getting tired of having to go in and like kill this man in front of his family. Like, I want to stop the human aspect of it. Well, you know, eventually with robots doing the killing, like they'll just keep killing until there's nothing else to kill. You know, whatever. So anyway, so that, you know, that's, like I said, the AI in the military is a big thing. And it's like, it's a lot, we living on our social media, on our apps, you know, laughing and giggling at videos, and the world is literally changing. There's a lot of stuff happening right, like, on the outside of our visors. Speaking of visors, you know, we're talking about Apple got the Vision Pro. We got a few minutes left before we wrap this thing up. Everybody like making fun of the people walking around with these visors on, sitting at the table, you know, walking in the subway and got this stuff, they swiping stuff on their thing in their heads, and it's like, this is silly and ridiculous. I think that it's pretty sad, because it's, you know, it's bad enough when you go out to dinner and you see people sitting at a table as a family and everybody on their phone. You know what I mean? They not even, and then they get their food, they eat, and they on their phone, and then they finish eating, and then they leave on their phone. And it's like, man, that's crazy. Like, you don't, You know what I mean? You don't even take the time to even like interact at all. You know what I mean? But the devices are like you don't even see the other person now. It's like you're totally in your own world. It's gonna take what we are, the problem that we already have in our society, which we talked about at length in multiple episodes, and it's gonna make it even worse. You know what I'm saying? What can you do about that, right? This is what you can do. After hearing all of that, you're like, oh man, this is crazy. I don't know if we gonna make it. This is what I would say to you. You know what I mean? You'll never have control over everything that goes on in your life, nor will you have control over everything that goes on in the world. But you do get to control how you interact with the world around you. You get to control how you respond to everything that goes on into your life. You get to choose. As a human being, that's your God-given right to choose. We talk about this all the time, but it's super important that people understand that. Like, I get to choose how I live and how I die. And all the stuff in between. I get to choose. You know what I'm saying? I get to choose, like, how I want to interact with AI. If I want to get an implant or not. Like, I get to choose all of this stuff. You know what I mean? All of us are going to die anyway. And I don't want to be grim, but I think that it's really important for people to, like, really understand that. And there's a power in understanding that. Why? Because everybody has an end, but you get to choose the stuff in the middle. That's your right, your birthright. You know what I mean? And really focus on that and decide how you want to live your life. Don't worry about be afraid of all the other mess. Focus on how you want to live your life. Our time is up and this thing is going to go off. So before we do, we want to thank you for tuning in, and we're going to leave you like we always do. Asking that you stay safe.
Stay blessed.
Please, stay human. We out.